Every week, I begged him to stop spoiling my favorite show. Every week, he smirked and ruined it anyway. So one day, I said nothing, just smiled, and spoiled every single comic he bought. He never messed with me again. If you've ever had someone ruin something you love just for kicks, this story is for you. Hit that like button, subscribe for more real-life revenge tales, and drop a comment if you've ever delivered justice with precision. Let's get into it. Let me take you back to a time when I was working at a comic book shop. The kind of place that smells like ink and nostalgia. Rows and rows of long boxes, bright covers screaming for attention, and shelves that could tell you the entire history of a fictional universe. It wasn't glamorous, but for a nerd like me, it was heaven. And like any tight-knit local shop, we had our regulars. The people who came in every week, rain or shine, to pick up their standing orders and shoot the breeze about everything from Batman's moral code to which Doctor Who was most underrated. I got to know them all, and I liked most of them. But then there was him. Let's call him Todd, not because that was his name, but because, well, it should have been. Todd was the kind of guy who knew a little too much about everything and had this smug little smile that made you feel like he was always one step ahead of the conversation. You know the type. At first, he was just another face in the Wednesday crowd. He'd grab his stack of comics, maybe toss in a random graphic novel, and talk about sci-fi shows while I rang him up. It was fine. Casual. Normal. One week, we were talking about favorite shows. And I mentioned I had just started re-watching Stargate SG-1 from the beginning. I told him I'd seen the early seasons back in college, but had never gotten around to finishing the last 3 seasons or watching any of the spin-offs. I was genuinely excited, like, get home, microwave some leftover pizza, and dive into 3 episodes back to back, kind of excited. But as soon as I said it, Todd's eyes lit up. Oh, so you don't know about insert spoiler here. And just like that, bam, he drops a massive spoiler. I'm talking series-defining, final season level spoiler. Like revealing who dies, who ascends, and what happens to key characters kind of spoiler. I froze. ... Dude. No spoilers. He gave me that classic smug grin, the kind of look that says, "Oh, did I ruin something? Oops." I let it slide. Maybe he got excited. Maybe he assumed I had seen it. Benefit of the doubt, right? But the next week, he did it again. And this time, I'd barely finished saying hi. Man, I love how Teal'c, Todd. Seriously, no spoilers. What? I'm just saying, please, stop. Week after week, spoiler after spoiler. Each one more specific than the last. And every time I asked him to stop, his grin just got wider. He wasn't doing it by accident. This was deliberate. And that's when it started to eat away at me. You ever had something you look forward to? Something that helps you decompress from the stress of life systematically ruined by someone who knows it matters to you. It's not just annoying, it's infuriating. My nights stopped being relaxing. I'd go home and watch Stargate, but I already knew what was coming. The tension, the twists, the emotional weight. Todd had chipped away at all of it. And every time I hit next episode, I could see that smug smirk in my mind. And that's when the seed of revenge was planted. Now, if you've never worked at a comic shop, let me explain something. You end up reading everything, especially if you care. I wasn't just some clock puncher. I loved comics. Every Wednesday, I devour every new issue from Marvel, DC, Image, name it. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. And Todd, he was a collector. The kind of guy who pre-ordered issues months in advance. He didn't just grab random comics. He had a pull list, and every week it was a decent stack 10, sometimes 15 comics at a time. All current titles. Titles I had already read. So I waited. I bided my time. Let him keep talking. Let him ruin just one more episode each week, thinking he was getting away with it. And then the perfect opportunity presented itself. One Wednesday, Todd came in, cheerfully smug as ever, and picked up a fat stack of comics. A glorious pile. He paid for them $60 worth of plastic-wrapped storytelling gold. And that's when I struck. I didn't bag them. I didn't say a word. I just laid them out across the counter, one by one. And as I pointed to each one, I spoiled them. Every single one. Oh man, I loved how Daredevil found out Foggy was lying to him again in this issue. Oof. Spider-Man finally figures out who's been gaslighting. This Batman issue. Oh dude, Alfred's letter, gut punch. Also, the twist at the end of X-Men, Chef's Kiss. You won't believe who dies. He stood there, staring at me. His smirk disappeared so fast, it was like watching a building implode in slow motion. At first, he tried to act like he didn't care. Nodded, shrugged, did a weak little laugh, but I could see it. His grip on the comics tightened. His jaw clenched. That little flicker in his eyes, panic. Because here's the thing about spoilers. They're only fun when you're the one dishing them out. When someone else ruins your carefully curated experience, it hits different. And in Todd's case, it hit hard. He didn't say a word after that. He quietly scooped up his comics, shoved them in his backpack, and walked out. The next week, he came back. No spoilers. The week after that, still silent. From then on, every time we talked, it was polite, spoiler-free. He never even mentioned Stargate again. And me, let's just say, I went home that night, microwaved my pizza, sat on the couch, and pressed play on the next episode, knowing that the war was over. That peace had been restored. That the gate was open. And Todd had been shut. Watching him try to maintain his fake composure while I spoiled his joy was one of the most satisfying things I've ever witnessed. There was no yelling, no drama, just a calm, surgical strike right where it hurt most. He underestimated how much I cared, how much I noticed, how much I remembered. And when the moment came, I didn't raise my voice. I raised the stakes. Sometimes justice doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it's quiet, precise, personal, and sometimes the best revenge is giving someone exactly what they gave you, just better packaged. If you've ever had your favorite show, book, or hobby ruined by someone who just couldn't let you enjoy it, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories like this, where karma comes with perfect timing. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever delivered? Let's keep the stories rolling.